Hello guys, and as I record this video, lots of military experts, journalists and politicians argue. Has Russia used for the first time in history intercontinental ballistic missile today when targeting Ukrainian city Dnipro? Will it be another round of Russian escalation, and how do we react? Well, my Ukrainian answer is that Russia is actually running out of tools and instruments to threaten the world. Honestly, I don't think this will lead to the nuclear war because Russia knows what the consequences will be, and Putin is desperately worried for his life. So all they hope for is that at a set moment of time, Ukraine and our allies will get too frightened, will give up, and will accept the new reality, which can actually be worse than any other military scenario. Trust me, I know a lot about people who are forced to stay on the temporarily occupied territories, and I remember what was life in the Soviet Union from the stories of my family. So, our task is to stop reacting to Russian blackmail and to continue defeating and demilitarizing it, especially now when there are so many symptoms that this evil empire is really close to its end. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, I'm actually in Kiev, the heart of brave Ukraine, and nobody is afraid here. Nobody wants to appease the evil that actually caused too much harm to my country and my people. So please, when making your decisions and talking to your politicians, take into account Ukrainian opinions. Subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity and to see the collapse of the Kremlin. I am sure we will discuss that on the channel sometime really soon. Because you know a typical behavior of a bully that is in a serious trouble, he wants to persuade you that he is much stronger than anyone on this planet, when in reality Russia is already very much dependent on lots of other authoritarian countries that right now supply it with people and weapons. And oh my god, this is not an example of strength and total independence. So, according to some reports today, for the first time in the course of this war and in general in history, Russia used an intercontinental ballistic missile Rubezh to target Ukrainian city Dnipro. Ukrainian air defense worked really well. Today they managed to stop 6 missiles, and in general, we do not share this doomsday scenario that many of my friends subscribers do at the moment when writing me messages and emails. What is interesting about this intercontinental ballistic missile that might have potentially been used by Russia today? That it is capable of carrying nuclear weapons and can be used for intercontinental nuclear strikes. This is what Russia constantly uses as the main argument to accept that now Russia decides everything in the world together with China, Europe belongs to Russia, and so on and so forth. But I'm sure all the same people who realize how evil Putin's regime is do not want to become part of this world, just like any Ukrainian. We are fighting against them for more than 1,000 days, for 10 years already, and we are determined to end this war on the Ukrainian conditions. Otherwise, this is just a bigger war in a couple of years and more victims among different people from different countries, because Russia is not fighting alone, and we have to be realistic when speaking about this too. Right now we have North Korean troops on the front lines, we have North Korean missiles that are targeted on a daily basis to Ukraine, and also Iranian Shahed drones, China that openly provides military support and economic support. Actually, Russia survives only because of the China's help. And that is why, to some extent, I agree with General Zaluzhny, who in his interview today or a day before said that it might have started the Third World War already in 2024. Share and subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with the brave people of Ukraine. And if you want all of this evil to end with the defeat of Russia and other authoritarian regimes that can take bad example if we do not stop them. So, Russia in general tries to frighten the world, to frighten our allies, but at the same time to demonstrate that its zone of influence is growing larger. For example, today they've started threatening Poland that there are US military bases that can actually stop intercontinental ballistic missiles, and that Russia feels uncomfortable with these bases being on the territory of Poland. And no, it's not about the support of Ukraine. It's about the expansion of Russia's plans. And believe me, if we start appeasing Putin, if we start prizing for him for doing all of this like evil, killing so many Ukrainians, destroying so many territories, violating so many laws, we will give him what he wants. So definitely then he will continue, and Poland and the Baltics and many other countries can get in trouble. I do have subscribers from Denmark telling me about like discussions about Greenland, or we may see China looking not just at Taiwan, but also at some islands near the Philippines. It can actually have a very evil domino effect that we don't want to experience on this planet, and that is why it's so important to end this war in Ukraine with the victory of Ukraine and its allies. Some of Western experts doubt that it was an intercontinental ballistic missile. What is interesting today, the spokesperson for the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Maria Zakharova, was speaking, and she received a phone call that actually advised her not to comment on the use of this intercontinental ballistic missile, and she listened to the advice. And actually lots of people who were present on that press conference, which looks quite pathetic. And I think the reason they still want to use it as an argument, frightening those who can easily be frightened. And yes, I mean Chancellor Scholz, I'm sorry, but it's just like many chancellors do not act as if they represent this really strong and beautiful country of Germany. I mean, Angela Merkel, who definitely invited Putin into the world of the global politics, somehow she believed that economic cooperation with Russia and closing eyes on their bullying, on their behavior, can motivate Putin to forget about the monstrous revival of the USSR. Well, she definitely, and we don't use bad words on this channel, but you can guess what I mean. So, what we clearly see here in Ukraine is that Russia is exhausted. And if you listen to NATO generals, not politicians, because honestly, at this moment, it is time for military decisions, not political fears. So when you listen to military experts, to top NATO generals, they all say Russia is super exhausted. And you can clearly see it. If you turn off your traditional vision of Russia as a big bear and you just watch that they needed to invite thousands. They actually plan to invite 100,000 North Korean soldiers. Is it a sign of strength? No. They are targeting Ukraine with Iranian drones, with North Korean missiles. Why? Because they have run out of their own. There are news where they actually speak about some old cinematography tanks transported to the front lines. They have tremendous problems with their economy, huge inflation. They are on the edge of the collapse. And what they will do right now? Hope that someone will try to appease them just because they keep speaking about nuclear weapons, same as it was in times of the Cold War, this nuke speak. But oh my God, Putin has nothing to do if he uses nuclear weapons. Actually, no one in Ukraine is afraid of that. And you know that we are number one target. So when you decide to make some ridiculous decision based on your fear of nuclear strikes, you have to at least ask Ukrainians, are we concerned about that? No, we are concerned about a frozen conflict. We are concerned about negotiations with the killers who came to destroy our country. We are concerned that Putin can be forgiven all what he did. This is what we are concerned with, that NATO is so much afraid of Putin that will never accept us. Why? Do you see this tendencies? Putin threatening Poland already, NATO bases. Don't you understand that if you keep doing what he demands when frightening you, you actually lead to more problems occurring in different parts of the world? So honestly, the only way to end this, the only way to avoid nuclear escalation, to avoid World War III is to defeat Russia. And believe me, they will give up really quickly when they realize that threats and these horror stories do not work, because they actually have nothing else to offer. And Putin, a coup or something will happen very quickly. That's the way they live in Russia. All their collapses, all their revolutions, they happen really quickly. Like you don't predict it is coming, and here it is. And I'm sure we will discuss that on the channel sometime soon. Remember to subscribe and please share my videos on your social media platforms. This is super important in the world that is overloaded with toxic narratives and Russian threats. And today Ukraine also marks the 10th anniversary of the Revolution of Dignity. I will share more information in the community tab. This is an important day when we declared we don't want to be a part of Ruski Mir. We are never getting back to the Soviet Union. Putin, follow the Russian worship. Join me on Blue Sky. I'm active there and I'm happy to see more friends of Ukraine in the social media. Also Instagram, Threads, X and Discord. And all the links that you need are in the description of this video. Also, we have a new Christmas collection in our merch shop and 2 beautiful calendars. You've advised us to make one last year. Oh my god, this war continues for so long. So right now we have 2 calendars, and if you want, do check. They work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for being friends of Ukraine. Warmest greetings from Kyiv, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Extremely brave, extremely strong. Today we had snow. I can't tell you that winter is my favorite season, but I'm sure after we win, you will all enjoy discovering more of my beautiful country. Free and independent country that can actually guarantee peace and security to many other nations, and being a beautiful example. Don't let Putin frighten you. He is a pathetic Kremlin goblin, and soon we will discuss his collapse in detail. Slava Ukraini!